Get Heavy Podcast, hosted by Craig Casamas and John Scheimer.
Things are good, just kind of figuring out what's going on next, just luckily people have been coming in to record, what's going on.
Yeah.
Keeping me busy enough because obviously we can't get out there and do any touring or playing and shit like that. So
I know, man. So I see that you just got back from New York. Where were you, in New York last week?
Yeah, so kind of a random trip. My buddy Camilo, you know that dude who's doing the comedy shit?
Yeah.
He called me. So it's funny. In the last 2 weeks, I was in Seattle with my girlfriend for her best friend's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was hanging out with my buddy Sean, you remember Sean Cisneros? You know that dude?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's up in Portland. Anyway,
Yep.
He had a really bad breakup with his chick, and
we all heard about it. We all heard about it, man.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I told him, was like, dude, just fucking come meet us in Seattle.
Someone
Jesus
save
Christ.
him.
I know.
I love him. I love Sean to death, but yeah.
Dude, I went to high school with that guy. He was my little brother, a little annoying brother. I call him my little annoying brother I never wanted.
Right,
He gets
100%.
pissed, but
I have a few of those.
Yeah.
Most of them end up being
Justice.
bandmates. I don't know how that works, but
Well, So while we're out there with him, like the last night we were there, we're just drinking all day, whatever, tequila shots, everything, doing the thing at this little bar. And I get a call from Camilo. He's like, bro, I'm fucking going to New York. Shane Mack hit me up. Now I'm going to Philly to hang out with Shane Mack for the weekend. Bro, it'd be amazing if you came,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Because I haven't seen Shane since he moved away.
Right.
Like four years ago or whatever.
Right.
So I drunkenly look up plane tickets, and they're only $120 round trip to Philly.
Flying's cheap right now, man.
And it was Christina's birthday, like that week. So I was like, all right, happy birthday, let's go. We're going to New York and Philly.
Right.
So we went out there for the weekend, spent 2 nights in Philly, hung out with Shane and his chick, and we got a couple hotel rooms, and broke all the laws. People say don't go anywhere, don't do anything, but
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like, fuck.
Well, I mean, you mask up, you fucking do what you can. How was traveling during Corona? You know what I mean? Like, how was the flight? How was it? What's the vibe like?
Just, you keep your mask on. They don't give you any booze or anything on the plane anymore.
Yeah.
You barely get like a little fucking cookie and a little ration and some water.
For a 5-hour flight.
Yeah. But, mostly they keep, there's never, it's not supposed to be 3 people sitting in the, they're supposed to have 1 seat in between. But on the way out there, it was actually pretty packed, and they had all the seats full.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But, you just got to keep your mask on the whole time and just do the thing. And they claim that they're cleaning everything all crazy and doing their thing. And actually, somebody told me recently that getting infected on a plane now is like less likely than getting struck by lightning because of all the filtering and shit that's going on.
I mean, they filter the fuck out of the air on those cabins. I mean, that's for sure,
so
as long as they're keeping up on that shit, it's probably all right. I took a flight at the beginning of Corona to Texas for some training for work, and it was definitely odd. I mean, you know what I mean? But the flight was pretty packed. I still had the seat in between, but I mean, it was a different vibe, dude. I mean, even at the airport was melt. You know what I mean? I've never seen. You don't see that. You know what I mean? So when you get to New York, how's New York? I mean,
that was the nice thing about everything, dude. It was chill. Like there's no big crowds anywhere.
Right.
We got there. So we left Philly on a Sunday, and we rented a car, and we drove, and we like hit the Jersey Shore and like a bunch of little stops. We found the place. Camilo's super into like Kevin Smith shit, and like they have a comic book store someplace in Jersey.
Yeah.
We went and found the convenience store from Clerks,
Yeah.
And like did a little scene from there. Just stupid shit like that. A Jersey Shore house and like all this stuff, So by the time we got to New York, it was kind of in the evening, and we tried to go out. We went to Times Square and did that thing at night, but by the time we're like, let's get a drink, you know, none of the bars were open. So I think they're closing it still at 10 or 11. So we didn't really like, you know, it was just like get some pizza. And we just walked around. The next day we were there all day, and we just did the walking thing and did all the touristy shit that I've never done before.
See, and that's the thing is like, it's
I've
nice.
been there.
Yeah, because when we're on tour, you're on tour fucking 9 months out of the year. You don't get to do shit, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like I've been to New York 5 fucking times, but only once have I ever like done the New York thing. You know, it's like, it's weird, man.
I've never
nice to
been
do
in front
shit.
of the Empire State Building.
Right.
Yeah. So, and with less people around too. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
You know,
it's cool, man. It was a nice,
this is the
sweet
time for
trip.
people that are just. Yeah. So it's good to be back, and I think that's it for a while. I don't think anything else is happening.
Well, I mean, according to everyone else, the fucking rest of the world's shutting down. I mean, you see Europe shutting down again, and you know all that stuff. You know, it's like
crazy,
fuck, man. I mean, we're not going to be out of this till. I read some statistics that like on past pandemics, and there, you know, everyone was saying like it's 18 months. It's 18 months before it tears through the world population and really starts to mellow out. You know what I mean? Regardless of herd immunity or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Before it really starts like dying out finally, you know what I mean? Or becoming part of the normal fucking plethora of diseases we're exposed to every day, you know? But I don't know, man. It's been insane, you know?
Well,
I know that
I'm
you've been
like, I'm
sorry.
No, I'm just not worrying about it. I'm not keeping my hopes up that anything's going to happen anytime soon as far as like getting out there, you know, enjoying the time off and really working on the studio and doing a bunch of shit here that I've been wanting to do for years. Finally fix, you know, wiring wall things and painting and redoing shit. You know, it's like, oh, wow. Been here for 10 years and I haven't done wired this panel up on this wall. And finally, you know, I did shit like that.
Well, the studio's looking great, man.
So,
you know, that's nice. It's rad that like, because you are part of the like independent contractors that, you know, and a part of music that just gets completely fucking forgot about. You know what I mean? Like, you know, obviously we know how important engineering is and recording and all that stuff. It's such a major part of our industry. But when you think about musicians out of work, which obviously you are with being a Night Demon, your fucking touring schedule, I'm sure, is smashed to nothing. Like, people forget that there's like, you know, people like you that have made their whole entire living off of fucking recording and being available for people. You know what I mean? And, you know, when you're doing that, it's like, it's got to be insane because you're like, not only are you watching your whatever stream of revenue from playing music tour dry up, you're watching your actual fucking stream of revenue dry up on top of that. You know, it's crazy. You know?
No, for sure. It was definitely worrisome at first, you know. Then kind of, you know, first few months was a little weird, but then people were kind of testing the waters, like, hey, so are you doing stuff? I'm like, I'm here, let's go, you know. Like, I'm like, if you're worried about distance, I got a big space. You could stay away from me, go in the other room, whatever, just come and record, come on.
Right.
But, you know, luckily, like when they added that extra, you know, when they did the unemployment thing, they added like the independent contractor part.
Yeah.
Like that saved my ass, because before that I was like, fuck, this is gonna be rough. I don't know what we're gonna do.
It'd be nice if they fucking did it.
Because like even what we'll see what happens, man. It's like, well, if you're gonna keep us here, you're not gonna let venues. I mean, I don't know what's going on. You know, like there's something they tested in Germany. Did you see that? Like a festival kind of thing, like a.
Oh, really?
It's just, I don't know. Dustin was telling me about it yesterday. And
like an outdoor kind of thing?
It's like, you know, they got to check. Yeah. But there's all these requirements, man, like going in, you know, like to get in the test. You have to, first of all, be tested, which is fine. One thing.
If they have it.
Everybody's temperature. If they have it. Yeah. And like there's a tracker thing and like all this crazy shit. It's like, dude, who's gonna want to do all that crap? We might as well just wait till it's fucking done, over with, and just, you know, fuck. It's like, I get the effort, that's fine. It's like the live streaming thing, which we tried to do.
Yeah.
It's cool, it's fun to do, but you know, that's not gonna replace that shit. There's no way.
It's definitely not, man. The one thing I can say is that it felt really good to play. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'm sure Night Demon's done something like this already, but it felt really good to even play. Even that it was in your studio, and God only knows. You know, we ended up having a couple hundred views on the thing, but you know what I mean? But it was like,
right.
You know, it just felt good to play. You know what I mean? And that's what you forget how, you know, why we do this. You know what I mean? First of all, it's we like playing music for ourselves because it does, you know, it is a part of, if you're anything like me, that shit gets my demons out. You know what I mean? All that stuff. I have to write riffs or I will kill something. You know what I mean? Not all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
I have to turn knobs and like record shit, or else I'm gonna go crazy.
Fucking freak out. Totally. Yeah. So I mean, it is a selfish act that we do, but to be able to share your creativity with a group of people and get that immediate response, like, it's such a massive fucking part of the world. Music's the only thing that transcends political lines and fucking bullshit like ideology and religions. You know, music is the only thing that fucking crosses all those fucking lines. You know, and to lose that is, you know, I'm realizing it's such a massive thing to do right now, you know?
Yeah, totally, man. I agree. Yeah, I mean, we haven't done the live stream thing. A couple of things have come up, but you know, seeing how hard it is to actually pull off and make it like good and like quality, like we want to do, you know, it's like, man, it's a whole thing. So we're just kind of holding off, and it's kind of worked out for us anyway, because we need to write more shit, and we're trying to like finish this album that we've been working on forever. And if we had gone on all these tours, man, we wouldn't have the material that we have right now, like that'll actually be ready to go by like the end of the year. So you know, it's kind of a blessing. And you know, we have the other rehearsal place here, so we're lucky, man. We you know, we've put a lot of work into it, and fucking blood and sweat, and sleeping on floors for fucking 20 years. And
totally, man.
You know, I mean, dude, I've been fucking playing in bands for 25 years, and I've just had a chance to be on a bus for the first time last year.
I know,
it's
dude,
crazy.
Yeah. You're like, no,
you know?
Yeah, it's insane.
I know
man.
some little fuckers that were their first tours are on buses, and it's like, fuck you guys, man. You don't.
Well,
get
and
it,
you know, people don't know that. They don't know that. You know, they think when the band's on tour, especially like a band like Night Demon, which has some serious notoriety and some real legs under them, they think, oh, hotels every night, you're on a bus, you're fucking blah blah blah, and then you go, dude, it literally couldn't be furthest from the truth. Like, I mean, in Europe you get some of that, but like, it's not happening, especially in America, dude. Not at all. It's not happening, you know.
Well, see, Europe is just like you just have to, like, that's its own thing, because if you try to compare Europe to anywhere else, then you're gonna just fail, because they spoil us over there, man. That's why we come back to the States, we're just like, wah, you know. Or, you know what? Yeah, the UK is like that too. It's like the States. Like when we did that last tour before the end of last year over there, like most of it was in Europe, and it was killer, you know. Like some of the guys on the other band were vegan, so it was like, yeah, vegan spreads, meat spreads, whatever the fuck drinks. We go to London or like England. The first show was like, there was like 6 bottles of water backstage, and like a fucking dark, dingy like dungeon thing with the, you know, this old staircase for fucking 3 bands, dude. Like on one tour, just like, oh yeah. This is how it.
This is tour. I remember this. I remember this.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So like, I'd love to, like, how, I know you've always, like, I've known you for many, many years. You've always been an insanely talented musician, but like, how did you get into like recording and playing music? Like, to be able to operate that board is like so beyond my pay scale. I get anxiety even thinking about it, you know. Like, how did you start getting into that kind of stuff, dude?
I don't know. I guess I just, like, you know, my dad's a musician. He plays keyboards and stuff, and he's always been like kind of one of those dudes that always would buy all the newest shit, and like, you know, he always had the biggest bitch in his stereo system and all that shit growing up. Like my uncles used to call him fucking Zoom because he was like always buying the newest shit, and like, you know, whether he needed it or not. I mean, he's still that way. I tell him all the time, like, you buy this thing, it's like you use like 5% of this thing, but like you don't even know how to use 95% of it,
He got it just
But
enough
it's
to
the
know
best.
it. That's it,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of that, and then in high school, the band that I got into in Oxnard when I moved out here, fucking somebody had a little 4-track, cassette thing, and we just started fucking around in our drummer's garage, and I just kind of kind of caught a knack for it, and just never stopped doing it from there. And then it went from the 4-track to an 8-track. Then I got the reel machine. Like, were you in Ox versus Thunderbird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys re-recorded on tape one time.
Yeah, we did. I think our last recording before we broke up, dude.
Yeah, I have that tape somewhere. I was thinking about that.
Oh, I actually heard Manassian he played the songs for me the other day, and I was like, what the fuck? It was like a 9-minute song. Remember we used your Juno? We were space echoing out.
Yeah.
It was getting,
and
dude. Matt was building that modular synth at the time. Remember? It was like, and you were Ventura's a small community of people. And like, you are the only motherfucker that really understands that type of shit. You know what I mean? So it was like, Armand is the man to go to, because he's not going to blink an eye when you tell him you're using a 70s amp. He's not going to blink an eye when you tell him, hey, we're in G, or whatever. Like, like Armand understands this shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, for years, you've always played like metalish type music and whatever, punk and metal and stuff. But like, you really have a broad understanding for that sound and the Sabbath and the fucking all that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, even at 20 fucking years ago now, it's like you naturally had that. Whereas like, you would go to some other studio where you start wheeling in a full stack, and the guy's like, no, no. Whereas like, you embraced our ridiculousness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It made it sound good.
Well, I think that's a lot of it. We were also, we were kind of in the same, like school together in a way, like I was still experimenting with shit, and I wanted to hear how to get those crazy big sounds like I heard on all those old recordings that I love. And, I was a huge fan of like the Steve Albini kind of stuff, and all that was a big thing. And his thing was like these natural organic sounds. And I was always trying to figure out how to get that. And I'm still like, I'm always doubting everything I fucking do, man. Like,
of
it's
course,
always like,
dude.
oh, fuck, I should have done this and done that, or I could have done this better. And it's just crazy. It never ends.
Yeah,
but
well, you always beat yourself up. I always beat myself. The tongue record.
That's what we do,
sounds
right?
incredible. I'm probably more happy with the tongue record than I've been with a lot of music I've ever done. You know what I mean? But I'll hear shit and go that I did, and I'm like, fucking moron. Like Bill pointed out to me, we got a new guitar player, Bill Benson, right? And so he's trying to learn the songs, and he goes, do you realize that like halfway through the song, you go from 4 to 5? And I'm like, I had no idea. No, I know. Like, I'm off. I'm playing on a 4, and then all of a sudden when I sing, I'm playing on 5 now. I'm changing on 5 rather than, and I'm like, fucking no way, dude. Like, why would I do? And I listen to it, and I'm like, okay, you're just a moron. You know what I mean? But I remember
he would point that out.
Oh, of course Bill would. Yeah, he's so talented, dude. But you know what? I will. I'm gonna fucking tip my own hat. My riffs are kind of fucking him up right now, which is good. I feel good.
I lost you for a second. Somebody was trying to call me. Anyway,
that's all right. Yeah, like I said, my riffs have been kind of fucking him up a little bit, which is making me pretty proud. Because I'm a moron, dude. You know what I mean?
Well.
Nick had to explain to Bill, he plays on one and. He's one and all the time. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Oh, okay.
But then you're still like, well, what does that mean? I don't know. It's like, I'm in the same way. Like I took lessons for like a year, when I was first starting out. Mm-hmm. And the minute we started getting into like scales and theory, I was like, whoa. This is school. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Just teach me how to play this fucking Megadeth song on this tape. That was my favorite part. Was bringing the tape in and be like,
oh yeah,
all right, you get to learn a song today. I'll show you a riff. Mm-hmm. So that I quit. And so I never learned the proper shit and the scales. I just kind of figured it out, by listening. And I mean, I think that's the cool thing about how kind of we grew up when we didn't have the internet where everything is there and you can learn everything by somebody just showing you. Like, dude, I had to sit there and listen to that fucking tape and rewind it and go back and try to move my finger around till it sounded right, on the thing. And do that shit for hours. And like now you just go on YouTube and it's like, oh, here's how you do this, and it's like, that's great. I love it now, but in a way, I think it's kind of killing like creativity and ear training, where you can like actually hear notes and stuff without having to, and having that like, unorthodox like kind of playing makes you write cool shit that maybe you wouldn't write if you knew that, oh, I'm playing a fifth over a four and a seventh, eighth, or whatever, pound sign, whatever the fuck,
Hashtag,
or like signature.
Hashtag you're off, buddy.
Like, dude, who cares? If it sounds good, it's good. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's in key or whatever, I mean,
it's a weird one, man, because I just don't, I agree with you that like when you meet someone that is like classically taught, right? You know what I mean? And understands music theory and all that, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? You can actually probably make a career doing that. But I do find that the most creative fucking riffs, the most creative songs, the most creative people that you meet are the people like me and you that are self-taught, that, have not been locked into a box, as far as like, well, this chord goes with this chord, so that's not, you know what I mean? Like, these are your here's your circle of fifths, and here's this, like us just literally, I mean, I wore fucking Damage Incorporated out, like the tape, trying to figure out bass riffs, and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I literally wore the tape out, like, whereas like I knew that 2 minutes in the tape was gonna warble really hard, and so I'd have to like like try to, you know what I mean? Like, I think that shit, like,
follow it along.
It just totally like, it opens up your creativity and it doesn't lock you into an area. But now as I'm getting older and I understand my style, I understand myself playing music, I understand my keys that I can work in. Now I'm wanting to really be able to branch out and like figure out like, where the fuck am I? You know what I mean? Like, I'll get halfway through something and I don't even know what fucking note I'm on,
Right. No, I agree. I'm kind of in the same way, and it's really helped me, because I kind of got to a point, I felt for a while, where I kind of hit a wall, and I was like, I don't know what else to do from like writing a solo, It's like I only had so many tricks, and that's when I was like, fuck, man, maybe I should like sit with somebody. Like, I always wanted to sit and like study with fucking, remember Jake Bossler, like Thorn Lord?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
That madman.
Yeah.
Dude. Because he's one of those guys that knows his shit, but he's also crazily creative.
Yeah.
And writes really cool shit.
Yeah.
But knows how to do it and knows why he's doing it. See, that's the like fine line that you gotta find.
Yeah, you gotta find it.
I always thought
harness the chaos. You know what I mean?
Rad to sit with that guy and be like, all right, dude, here's what I know how to do. Show me how I can go somewhere else,
Yeah.
But
I watched Thornlord one time, right? And I already knew that he was like a monster, right? And Danny obviously is nuts, And I watched him warm up, and all he did was this. He fucking finger tapped the Popeye theme song. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's amazing.
I mean, it was like, and I was like, what just happened, dude? Like, that might be the most complicated piece of music I've ever fucking seen. And I had no idea. Yeah. And then he's like,
no idea.
You're like, God damn it, man.
Yeah, dude.
But that's how he warmed up. He finger tapped the Popeye theme song. And you're like, you have to be out of your fucking mind to like know that. Like,
those are the kind of guys that I love to watch play, though. So,
100%, man.
I'm cool. I'm good.
That's beautiful. So obviously, I mean, Night Demon has been like a insane whirlwind since you stepped into that, right? I mean, And I mean, I know that you said you guys are finally able to start focusing on writing and stuff, but I mean, are you guys just at this point just starting to really just push shit back and back and back? I mean, are you guys making plans for 2021
Yeah.
right now or what?
I mean, at this point, I think the only thing that's kind of on the books that we have any control over, or well, we don't have control over really, but they're saying right at this point is booked. This is like a festival in Europe in July. You know, there was a couple of tours that we were gonna try that we were trying to do this last year that were gonna be really, really cool. It was a really killer lineup. It was gonna be us at band Midnight. I think we're gonna do some stuff with Satan at band too, and you know, but all that shit just it's like okay next year, but then you know now the booking agents are starting to say, well, we don't know, maybe summer, maybe fall, maybe 2022.
Yeah.
And now you know some of the bigger bands like Priest and shit are just saying like 2022, you know, is when we're gonna start up again.
Yeah. That's
so
wild,
I
man.
don't know. I'll tell you what though, the one cool thing that I guess would come out of this is that people are going to be so fucking pumped when it comes back around.
Right.
It's going to be like babies are born, you know, which I kind of think we needed. We needed a bit of a reset, man, because there's just too much shit out there and too much going on. Like Europe was getting really crazy with all the festivals. Like, dude, it's just every fucking weekend, man. There's like every kind of festival. You know, it's like, do you really need a festival that's 20 black metal bands all playing the same fucking kind of thing for like 3 days in a row?
Yeah.
Well, down the street there's a fucking, you know, traditional metal festival, and then there's, you know, the, you know, Doom Fest. It's like, dude, just fucking whoa, it's getting crazy now. And people are having to like decide, well, what do I want to really see, you know?
Well, at
so
a
I don't know,
certain
maybe
point,
by some of that
it's
stuff
the
kind of falling off.
you're calculating loss at that point, because there are a lot of people like me and you who appreciate all kinds of shit. Like, I don't know what type of, I've never had the benefit of playing any sort of big festival like that. So, but for me personally, you couldn't fucking get me to go to a 3-day black metal festival. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. And I love black metal. I mean, I really like it. It's a great music. But you also couldn't get me to go to a 3-day Doom festival or a 3-day fucking new wave of British heavy metal. Like, I like when it's a conglomerate of shit. You know what I mean? So you're right. I mean, you know, some of these people need to peel off and just kind of like, you know, learn to gather the resources and make, you know, a couple big a year. But I mean, you guys are making a living off festival touring circuits, right? And a lot of people are doing that out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely where our bread and butter is at, you know, like we got to a point where we built it up to where, you know, we can do like headlining tours over there and actually like, you know, pack a club every night. And dude, it's great. You know, we invested, we got our own van over there. We bought backline over there. Like we have everything. It's like, all right, now we can go over there and it's like, all we have to pay for are our flights, you know, and then we can actually come back with some money. And, you know, I mean, that's what, dude, built our studio next door, you know, like that's all fucking band money, man. We earned that shit, you know, and it feels good, but it's scary now that it's like, fuck. So we're trying to find these other avenues, you know, with like doing this podcasting that we're doing and having like a subscriber section, like kind of a subscriber thing. It's like, dude, it feels weird like asking people for $10 a month.
Yeah.
You know, but
you know what though? I mean, like, you know, it is what it is, man. If you're passionate about it, and it's really about staying in touch with people at this point, because you don't have the music, you don't have the tour. Hey, see you next summer. So it's like, dude, anything a band can do at this point to keep in touch with their fans, keep the fucking memory going, keep that, you know, thing going, which is why I loved like what you guys did with the 7-inch releases or the single releases that you guys did over that series of months. Like that's such a good way, because that's me and Jarvis talked about that a long time ago. Like how I was telling him, like, I don't want to do a record, dude. I want to do like a couple bangers a year, because at this point you're lucky to get 2 songs on a fucking playlist. You know what I mean? From Spotify or what, you know, like
exactly.
You know, people are listening to full albums. You guys have diehard fans. I'm sure they're going to listen to everything, but to keep in touch with your fans like that, there's nothing wrong with that, dude. You know?
Well, no. And it's like, instead of just putting one thing out and then, you know, maybe in 2 years we'll put something else out or something. Yeah. Just keep it new, keep it going, keeps the interest of the band up, you know, because it's like every couple months or something new, or do an EP every 6 months or something like that. And it's easier for us, man, like, like it's not the 70s where there was a label paying you to fucking stay in your rehearsal room for 2 months and write 2 albums.
Right.
Like we've all got other things going on. We've all have, like, we gotta like survive, and if we're not touring, it's like I'm in here recording, Jeff's managing other bands, Dusty's working on his drum shit, whatever it is. It's like I wish it could be just this and just be able to focus on that one thing and nothing else.
Yeah.
But it's just not the reality of it. So with that comes, it takes longer to fucking write shit, and then we're so meticulous about what we're writing, and we just, we can just sit there and write the same old song all the time. Just be like, all right, well, this is what we are. So let's just stick with that formula. And like, that's easy. I feel like we all know that, we're at a level of like musicianship or whatever that we can fuck around and try new shit and break some molds. And I mean, it's, we're not Rush or fucking, Zappa are going to reinvent the wheel, but at least mix some shit up, and try some shit because we can,
Yeah, do a fucking do a Kisco album, man. That's what I'm waiting for.
Hey,
Where's
man,
the fucking Night Demon Kisco record, dude?
Well, we're gonna do a cover of the Bee Gees. No, was it Night Fever?
Dude.
Night Demon, Night Demon, Night Demon.
Yeah, dude.
So funny story. I don't know if you've seen, like, somebody took our faces and put them on the Bee Gees, like, for that cover for that single, because
really?
A few years ago we did a tour with fucking Crowbar, which is awesome. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking Southern boys, man. Louisiana. Fucking Kurt.
Yeah, like, Kurt's a fucking bad motherfucker.
Y'all's my favorite band, man. I'll tell you what, fucking. But he
when
started.
You get a nod from
one of those guys in that band
like,
started singing that when we were on tour with them.
Yeah.
Dude. No, he definitely hooked us up, man. He's wore our shirts and like some interviews, like magazine things. They're down, man. But yeah, one of those guys started singing that for fun, the Night Demon thing over that Night Fever song, and it just sucks. So we would like listen to that shit backstage before we go on, like get pumped up,
Yeah.
Fucking whatever it takes, man.
That's rad. I mean, so it's always funny too, because we've had like a ridiculous plethora.
Go ahead, bring it on. What do you got?
Hello? Oh, you there? Son of a bitch. Can you hear me, bud?
Our connection got shitty.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
We back? All right, I think we're back.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
I was gonna ask, like, what have become Night Demon's pre-show rituals? You know what I mean? Like, we always had like weird entrance music. Like, for a long time, the Wrath would come out to MIA. You know what I mean? Because it was like a really good song that we just all loved. Like, what are some of Night Demon's like cooler, like funner, like pre-show rituals that you guys do?
Well, yeah, dancing around to the Bee Gees is always a good one, and just jumping around. That beat gets you going, get down, do some push-ups, run around, get some sweat going. Maybe have a beer or something. I don't know. It's not as crazy as it used to be with our drinking, because it just gets sloppy, but that was some fun days. But you can't do that forever. No, I don't know. We had one of the tours that we did where we actually brought a sound guy with us. We had a thing where we had our playlist where he would play at a certain time, like 20 minutes before our set time, and it was kind of cool because we had like, I think the last song on there was Oxnard, Ill Repute, Oxnard, so it kind of get us pumped up, and people in the crowd, no matter where we were in the world, that are hearing Ill Repute's Oxnard, I mean,
Foley, dude.
Most people didn't know what that was, and then we would have our own thing backstage. I mean, we always have some sort of intro music, but like sometimes there'd be a certain song. There's a band called Demon. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they have a song called Night of the Demon.
All right.
And Jarvis claims he didn't know anything about this band before he started the band, but the coincidence is crazy, man. It's Demon. The song is Night of the Demon. And in the verses, in one of the verses, he says "A Curse of the Damned," which is the title of Night Demon's first full-length record.
Yeah.
So that's always a good one.
Yeah, but he's never heard of it.
You can argue.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Hey, man.
Hey.
Some things
Jarvis,
just leave alone.
He's an interesting beast. I fucking love that
Love
guy,
him, man.
Yeah. There's no one like that. I mean, there's just no one like him.
No.
He's crazy. So how has the podcast thing been? I mean, have you guys seen good response, or I mean, is it you and him on it every week, or is Dusty on it as well, or what's the deal?
Dude, so no. There's a guy that you got to check it out, man.
Yeah.
So there was this guy from Canada, actually Newfoundland, which is like the most furthest part of Canada.
Believe me, I watch a lot of Alaskan shows.
Yeah, so what's up.
So I always see shit like
anyway, so this guy had an Iron Maiden podcast thing, and it was him and another guy, and they would just do everything Maiden. They get into their songs, like break everything down, like really, really in-depth shit. And he's been doing it for a few years, and like Jarvis has been on it a couple times and made friends with the guys, and so that thing kind of came to an end, and this guy Chris pitched the idea. He's like, hey, what do you think about doing a Night Demon podcast? And at first we're like, yeah, I guess. Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
But no, dude, he's like, so there's a curator, which is awesome.
Oh,
so he
good.
hits us every week. Yeah. He comes up. I mean, we've all kind of brainstormed ideas. I mean, obviously at some point, every single song will be broken down on this thing,
right.
Per episode. But so as far as right now, he'll hit us with questions, and then depending on what it's about, we'll also bring in other people. Like there was a whole episode about like the thing with the Scorpions with Lee John Roth, in trance. How did that come about?
That's
insane, there was us,
dude.
Plus we got everybody that was involved in making that happen also, was on it. Basically, we just send them questions and like, hey man, record it on your phone. And then Chris will narrate it and edit it together, and have there's tracks. When he talks about like our own songs, it gets in. There's like demos that no one's heard. He'll break down. We give him the fucking individual tracks. He'll like talk about, oh, check out this guitar part here. Play that thing by itself, and then that ties in to the subscriber thing, because then it's like, if you want to hear the full demo, become a subscriber and you get all this fucking content that you can't get anywhere else. Original demos, like fucking whatever. It's crazy because every week we do a new one, so we're working on this shit, and
it's a lot of work, dude. I mean, it's a lot of fucking work. That I do. Obviously Scheimer couldn't be here today. He had to I think he had to pick up his kids from the airport, but it is a lot of fucking work, especially like with something so centered like that. Like I also see like a lot of those true crime podcasts where it's like research upon research upon research. It's rad that there's someone that has a real passion like for that. That helps you guys out. You know what I mean?
He became a fan of the band because somebody had sent him. We have a song. It's called Made in Hell, spelled like Iron Maiden, Made in Hell, and all the lyrics are fucking song titles. It's like a Maiden like tribute song, but all the lyrics are song titles. So he stitched together all these fucking song titles and made a story out of it. And so somebody sent that to this guy, and he just loved it, and that's how he found out about Night Demon, and then he just became a fan. So it's cool because like we don't really have to feed him much. Like he digs into it,
Well, that's good too, because like if someone were to approach me about a podcast about something I've done, I immediately would think like this could be a punishing fucking, you know what I mean? Like, do I want to get punished for 8 hours a fucking week, about something I'm doing? Like, which it could go so south. So, and you guys, I mean, metal fans are the greatest fans on earth. I mean, much more dedicated than me and John C argue about this shit all the time. I'm like, metal fans are 1,000 times better because they're dedicated. Not only that, they have fucking jobs and they buy shit. You know what I mean? Like, but
totally.
But they will punish you on a level that is unfucking real sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, and I know you guys have gone and done private shows for people and shit like that, which, and I'm sure they were fine, but holy shit, man. Like I couldn't imagine my threshold for like bullshit is like about this big,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I'd be like fucking dying, like, but they can punish the shit out of you.
Oh, they do. And
Yeah.
we're nice guys, so we deal with it. It's fine,
You guys are
But
heroes.
it's better than sitting on your couch and trying to figure out what to do with your life. So I'd rather do that. That's okay. If that's the fucking the side effect from like being able to fucking live your dreams and play music, then that's cool. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll take
And
that.
you've always kept you've always had the same mentality, like no matter what, from the days of being in Rick's fucking little practice space, you know what I mean?
Fuck yeah, man.
You've always kept that same energy, dude, which is really nice because there's a lot of people let that shit go to their heads, dude. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's just, it can get really bad, but I'm so appreciative that you've always kept the same level of respect. And you know what I mean? I if you're like me, I know you believe like high tides raise all ships. The better you do in Night Demon and Ventura, the better everyone does in Ventura. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, that's the thing, and we definitely claim it everywhere we go, man, every night. Yeah. Ventura, 19 from Ventura, California, and then people always ask us, well, where is that? Like, oh, by the way, why don't you come to our festival and like come check it out? Then we fucking bring tourism into this damn town too, and like,
it's great,
like
man.
that.
I mean, but yeah, it's crazy. So I wanted to ask, like, has there been anything like that's happened on tour where you really thought like, how much do I want to do this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that we've all had those moments. You know what I mean? But like give me like a couple of moments where you're like, dude, this is too much. And then I'd love to hear like, some of your tops. I mean, because playing with fucking John, right?
Holy John Roth, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus
Holy
Christ.
John Roth, yeah.
Holy John Roth is like nuts, dude. Like, so like,
yeah.
Show me. I want to hear some of the dichotomy, like times that you've seen that you're like, no, dude.
Fuck.
No.
I mean, honestly, with the Night Demon thing, I kind of came into it when Dave already kind of did those. They did the rough shit, before I joined the band, and I had done that shit with other bands too.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, talk to the Glass and Ashes boys and a few of that. And when I did that shit with them, it was fucking crazy. We stayed in some really fucking sketchy ass squats in Europe and shit, where it's like, am I sleeping in bed bugs? Am I tripping out, or is shit crawling on me? Like, what is this slop I'm getting fed? It's like prison food, like big thing, just like plops down.
Glog, like fucking gulag or whatever.
Yeah,
the fuck it is.
Yeah, the gruel, the gruel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously me and you are one of the rare people that's actually toured with the Glass and Ashes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it's just them or what, but I mean, we watched them implode on each other, when the Wrath did that tour, and that was nuts.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Because we were so high, like, I think we were still a 3-piece at the time, right? And we went on the tour with them, and it was like we're fucking stoners, dude, and we're having a great time. And they had obviously had a lot of inner turmoil before this had ever come, and like I was like, man, I learned a lot of like what not to do, what I don't want to do on tour, you know what I mean? Or what I don't want to do to be in a band. And I'm not saying anything bad about the people, nothing, you know what I mean? Like, the band is incredible, fucking still one of the most talented bands to ever come out of Ventura. But, I just, on that shit and watching that shit implode, like watching the band implode on tour was nuts, dude. Like, it was a huge learning curve for me,
Yeah. What not to do, right? Fuck, man, it's hard to rack my brain about this shit because I don't have the best memory when it comes to this shit, but certain things, there was a good moment, and it didn't make me like question why I'm doing this, but it was definitely one of those, fuck, I think this is the end right now. Was basically, we played this. This is when we toured with the German band Accept, the metal band.
Oh yeah,
and we did one show. We were in Scandinavia, and we were in Sweden, and there was a show on this. We were taking this ferry because we were supposed to go to Finland, and we were gonna play on this ferry. It was like a rock and roll fucking cruise ship from Sweden to Finland.
Nice.
It's like an overnight thing. It's like 1,500 drunk Swedish people on this thing. The show is great and all that, but like we had to get off the ferry at like, I don't know, 4 a.m. because that thing just turns around and goes back to Sweden. And then we were going to get another ferry. There's some island in the middle of that sea, whatever it is, that there's like, boats come and go to. So, but we had to get off of that thing like 4 a.m. and then get on this other ferry. Well, we're fucking, everybody's hammered on this thing. Like, we don't know how to find the van, like get down underneath into the, I don't know if you've ever been on those big ferries.
I never,
but like,
no.
they're insane. Dude, tour buses, semi trucks are on this thing, like inside. That's how big they are, crazy.
Like a cruise ship or something.
So we're all trying to, yeah. So luckily we ran into some of the crew from the other band. We're like, oh, okay, here you guys are. Do you know how the fuck do we get back to the band? It's like a run at a time. And we're like, okay, yeah, follow us. And all the meanwhile, like our tour manager is nowhere to be found. And he's the guy that's supposed to be looking after us and make sure we get where we're going and, know where the fuck we are. And no one can find him. So we're in the bowels of this thing in our little van, and the doors are going down, we're supposed to drive off, and the crew's like, you gotta go now, because it's like, everything's on a tight schedule.
They're
like,
trying to offload 1,000 cars, right?
Yeah. And then turn back around and go back to Sweden. And we're like, where the fuck is this guy? And then finally someone got a hold of him. He showed up. Jarvis starts screaming at him, because we're paying this guy, on top of it. We don't have the money to pay anybody at this point. And this guy's like making us almost miss this thing. So then what we have to do, it's 4 a.m. This island is frozen. It's like in the middle of the Baltic Sea or some shit. There's like icebergs everywhere.
Dude. Yeah.
And we had to wait till like 10 a.m. for the next ferry. So there's no hotels or anything to get off. So we had to sit in our van and fucking wait till 10 a.m. while fucking Accept is parked behind us in their bus with the heaters on and shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like, our crew guys are fucking yelling at each other, like getting in fist fights. Dustin and Jarvis fucking get into it because somebody calls somebody a pussy, and they're like in the van, and I'm grabbing both of them, and Dustin like smashes a fucking sandwich on Jarvis's head, and the other guys are like outside in the snow, like literally like going at it, dude. And I'm just sitting there. I'm the only guy that didn't have a problem with anybody, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm screaming at everybody, like, what the fuck are you guys doing, And then eventually, the tears come. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
And then everybody fucking passes out of this thing. Like, it's like ice on the windshield.
Yeah.
Because we can't run the van all night long. And I think there's a picture. One of the guys from the other band came out and took a picture of us all fucking passed out in there, frozen to death,
Dude, I would have paid.
That was a pretty good one.
I would have paid so much money to see Accept in their bus, like looking at you guys all fighting and shit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
It was crazy. Like
That's
everybody
awesome.
was fighting each other in the van and in the crew. It was fucked
That's
up.
amazing, man.
And meanwhile they're wearing like, because we're like, fuck yeah, we made like like bomber jackets with the logo on it, like crew, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, we got the uniforms, and so these guys are all in their gear and like fucking going at it and shit.
Fucking Night Demon throwing blows on each other all day. You know what's really hard to do is
4
fight in a
a.m.
parka.
Yeah, exactly. In their van, like
Yeah, so good, man.
Negative 20 degrees outside.
Oh my god! I went on a tour with I went on a tour as a roadie with Jackass, right? One time, and we got thrown out.
Right.
We got thrown out of the hotel room in Edmonton, Canada, at like 3 a.m, right?
Yeah.
And that tour ended as much like a VH1 fucking Where Are They Now as any tour could have ended, right? You know what I mean? Like, it was insane from the start.
Yeah.
But I remember us like in Canada driving from Edmonton to Calgary or something. I want to say it was that. It's like a 14-hour fucking drive, right? And it's negative fucking 10. And I'm in a sleeping bag. I'm in a sleeping bag, full clothes, and I'm driving. Because the heater's just not keeping up, dude. And I remember going like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like, this is bullshit, man. Like, I'm not getting paid for one. I just went for the ride. You know what I mean? To help.
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't playing. I wasn't doing shit. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Being cold and miserable is probably the worst,
I remember the first tour I ever went on with my band, my high school band, the Whereabouts. This was like, I don't know. We were probably like 18 or 19. My dad had one of those cargo vans, you know, it was just empty. There's nothing in it, you know. So I convinced them to let us take this thing. And it was just a little thing up the coast, and like, you know, we played like Santa Cruz and, you know, Sacramento or something. Went up to Portland, I think was the farthest we went. And you know, so we're in this thing. It's fucking, so there's no insulation in there, man. It's a tin can, you know, the heater only works in the front. We threw a couch in the back, you know, had our gear in there. There's no seats and shit. I remember sleeping on the bass players like that. Oh my God, dude. On the 8x10, waking up, and it was snowing outside, and we were in Weed, California, and I thought that was the coolest fucking thing ever. You know, because you didn't know back then there was actually a place called Weed, California, and it snowed there. You're in California. Yeah. It's cold as fuck. I mean, it's tin can, you know, but it was still awesome.
Yeah, that's when, like, back then you could be excited for the adventure and the story. You know what I mean? But tour number 150, you're like, okay, man, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's brutal.
I've earned something a little bit better than this, but you know. So hey, listen, I love touring. It's great, but at this point, I'm pretty cool right now. I'm fine. Being home has been really good. You know, even though now, like, we got it pretty good. You know, when we go out there, there are hotels mostly every night and stuff, and it's chill, and we have a van and everything. But you know, the drives are still long. You know, and like, so if you have a hotel, so what? You get there like at fucking 1 a.m. after the show, and sometimes you got to leave at 6 or something, and it's like you just go there to shower and shit. Get the fuck out the next day. It's not like all this grandeur shit going on, you know?
Yeah, that's what people don't realize, you know what I mean?
When you're doing that,
it's drive for fucking 12 hours to play. You know, you're at a venue all fucking day long, or even evening. You play for your hour and a half. You pack it up and you're fucking back on. You know what I mean? It's like people don't know that. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you guys get to party. It's like, yeah, we partied for 3 hours, like, and then it was a 16-hour drive to the next show. You know what I mean? Like, and it's you know, it's got to be nice for you to be home and like really get to group your head together again. You know, like.
Yeah, and it's good, man. You know, like, we've hit it pretty hard for the last 3 years, and we've never taken this long of a break. You know, so. Whether we want to or not,
you said it right. I think you said it right. Like, I think you're right. Like, a lot, we all needed this break. The music industry needed this break to really kind of, you know, regroup. And I think you're right. Like, when this shit comes back, it's going to be fire, dude. I mean, if you can get through the fucking sea of people that are trying to do it at the same time, you know what I mean?
Well, it's gonna be but here's the thing too. It's like, how many people are going to last through this? How many bands are going to make it through this shit? And then the other thing, it's going to probably thin the herd a little bit, which is going to be good for the ones that do survive it. And fuck, it's going to be like born again, man, you know? So I'm excited about that. That's great, man. That'll be cool.
Do you have any good, do you have any recording projects? I mean, I know you've been very busy recording and shit, but you got any, like, obviously you've recorded the majority of my bands, obviously, but how many records have you actually recorded? Have you counted like, or as far as like projects and stuff?
Fuck. I mean, I would have to say it's probably, I mean, if you want to really go for the beginning, I'd say it's probably close to 1,000.
That's crazy, dude. Because you've always been recording bands. I mean, as long as I've known you, you know, it's insane, man.
You know, I moved into Rick Hunter's place in '99, and we shared Roger, you know, he was in No Motive at the time, and we got the room right next to them, and there was a little window. I don't know if you've been upstairs in the back corner.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little setup like it is downstairs. So, I mean, immediately right away, like, we started recording there, because I had his brother let us use his 8-track reel-to-reel machine before I bought my own, you know? And so, dude, I mean, you're talking, okay, so that's 99. That's 20 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. 20 years is insane.
So, you know, 20 or 30 bands a year, maybe 600. I don't know.
It's way up there, I'm sure. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, I've got the Wall of Fame up here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's like 30 records on the wall. Right. And I have 5 more to put up. And those are just bands that have put vinyl out or like released, actually put it out physically, you know? then what about all the CDs and just the digital shit? And so it's countless. I mean, I have probably 10 hard drives full of shit that I have pretty much everything from like the early 2000s stored away somewhere. So,
wow.
And plus I have 2 bins full of tapes. I was thinking like, man, because I have a setup now where I was starting to do transfers for people, and like people are sending me their old tapes, and I'm transferring to digital, and like I thought about the aux stuff. I'm pretty sure that tape is floating around.
I'd love, if you find it, let me know, man.
One of these days. Just be cool. It's like, hey, here are the actual tracks.
I know I had to finish the vocals. I should fucking come in and finish them, and then fucking. I mean, who gives a shit? Release it. You know what I mean?
Why not? Why
Fuck
not,
it,
man?
who cares? Dude, it's fucking. I mean, it's so awesome to catch up with you, man. I mean, I'll see you on the next one. We got a bunch of new batch of shit. I'll be sending your way here soon. But,
good.
Please plug anything that you want to plug before we get out of here.
Yeah, check out the podcast, man. Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. It's on all the formats, whatever. Just type it in Google and it'll pop up. It's a weekly fucking show. Like, I mean, for example, like we literally just finished. There was a 6-part series on our live record. 6 fucking episodes.
It's crazy.
Went into everything. The beginning, how it got there, the gear. We talked to the people that mixed, like every fucking little thing, and it's really cool. This weekend we have a Halloween special that's going to drop. Nice. It's like 2 hours of us just talking about horror movies and all the imagery with the band and whatever.
Yeah,
it's fun stuff. It's really cool. And so that's kind of where we are giving people new stuff. We'll have probably a new record at the beginning of the year is the plan. And then just studio, man. So everybody that's fucking recording or writing music, come in and fucking record.
That's right.
I'm ready.
The captain's quarters.
I'm here. Captain's quarters.
Yep. Yeah, man. Well, fuck, dude. It's a pleasure to catch up with you, and
dude.
I'll stop by and say hi. And
for sure. Thanks, brother.
Love you, brother. And for those of you who give a shit, check out the Get Heavy Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access and bonus footage. There's higher tiers that get you discounts on merch. Check out the masks and the t-shirts that are coming out. Masks are ready. T-shirts are just lagging, dude. So hit us up there. Get Heavy Podcast, Big Cartel. And that's it.
That's it.
Hopefully this will come out right after the election, assuming there's a world still. Right? So, I mean, if this never surfaces, it's because the word fell apart.
The world blew up finally.
Totally. So
you know what? And I'm okay with that too, man.
Right.
At this point, I've done pretty much everything I wanted to do. Kind of,
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm good.
Yeah. Anyway, it's nice knowing you guys. Trump 2020. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Piece of shit. God damn that guy.
Fuck them all 2020. How about that?
I like that one better. Fuck them all 2020.
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll talk to you.
Cool, brother. See ya.